You are now in the wheat field. I often say when giving tours that the wheat field at Gettysburg is the only wheat field I know of in the United States that is spelled with a capital W. It is today a proper name. If you told a former soldier of the Union or Confederate Army at the end of the Civil War that you fought in a wheat field, that's all you needed to say. Because by war's end, the wheat field would be remembered as one of the bloodiest and toughest fights in the American Civil War. On Thursday, July 2nd, 1863, in this small 20-acre field and surrounding woods, about 4,000 Confederate and Union men were killed, wounded, or captured here during the fight. Portions of this field, the lower parts, changed hands some 6 times. The fighting here was literally hands on. The story of the 4th Michigan Infantry Regiment, commanded by Colonel Harrison Jeffers, illustrates how close the fighting was. Prior to Gettysburg, Jeffers' command had been presented a new flag to carry into battle. When the governor of Michigan and a senator visited the regiment in camp, Jeffers made them a solemn promise that as long as he was living, he would protect that flag with his life, that it would never fall into the hands of the enemy. Well, on the second day at Gettysburg, in the ensuing battle, Jeffers spotted the flag lying on the ground and the Confederates about to carry it off. With a sword in his hand, he immediately rushed at the enemy. Slashing wildly, he brought down several of the Confederates until he himself was bayoneted to death. One account said he was literally pinned to the earth by bayonets here in the battle. Witnessing this sight was one of Jeffers' brothers, serving here in the same regiment. And so he, with the help of several other members of the command, rushed to the body of their colonel. The Union group carried the colonel and the flag from the field. Jeffers had held true to his promise, giving up his life to protect the flag. Fighting nearby in the wheat field was another colonel by the name of Edward Cross. Cross was a seasoned veteran and the original commander. One of the fence planks along the Emmitsburg Road was examined following the battle. In one section, some 16 feet in length, Union soldiers counted 836 holes. That's how heavy the firing was. Virtually a wall of lead and iron. And yet, despite the carnage and the loss of men, the Confederates still surged forward. Eventually, they reached the small stone wall to your left. The section in the front right, where the wall makes a 90-degree angle. Where the two walls meet was called the angle. And as you remember from the peach orchard, angles are dangerous because they can be attacked from two sides. That is exactly what happened here. Converging from both sides, the Confederates overwhelmed the Union soldiers' position there, forcing them to fall back. Now suddenly, the Confederates had the protection of the stone wall and could fire at the Union troops exposed in the open. But the respite was short-lived. To stand any chance of success, they needed to move forward. And the man who led them into the throat of the Union line was Confederate General Lewis A. Armistead. With his hat perched on the tip of his sword, Armistead yelled to his remaining troops, "Give them the cold steel, boys!" And with that, he jumped over the wall and charged the Union troops stationed near the avenue where you were currently parked. This final desperate surge was not enough. Union soldiers crowded in on all sides, firing at point-blank range. Armistead was mortally wounded. Shot in the arm and leg, he fell reaching out for a Union cannon. The location where Armistead fell is today marked by the small granite monument next to the cannon in the middle of the angle. Soon after Armistead was wounded, the Confederate assault lost its momentum and began to disintegrate. Most of those who stepped over the wall with him were either killed or captured. Those who could tried to make their way back across the field of death, once again having to brave the musket and cannon fire on their path of retreat. Pickett's charge was one of the greatest charges in military history, and it had been an utter disaster. The casualty rate was staggering. In one of Pickett's regiments, it reached 92%. The loss in leaders was particularly painful. Of the 15 regimental commanders under Pickett in the assault, all were killed or wounded in the span of a single hour. Half the division was dead, wounded, or prisoner.
263, 4. Climbing up the stairs of the observation tower. Must be a big idiot. I lost count of how many steps. Dad, you up there?
Yeah.
I'm about there. Almost didn't. Wow.
Glad you did now.
Oh, yeah. How many steps were there?
I don't know. I didn't count them.
Oh, let's count at 65. Alright guys, I'm not going to be able to keep this on long. The battery's running low. I'm Chris Master 1, signing off.